If you look even remotely like any of the physiques that you're seeing on screen right now, you have no idea how much potential you are leaving on the table. Listen, you might feel like you're just not the kind of guy who can attract the women that you want or be respected or be a high value man. Maybe you just think that you're an average guy who's going to be stuck with average guy problems like women not being interested in him and just kind of being like this nice guy, disrespected kind of guy your whole life. But I'm here to tell you, if you aren't jacked, you have no idea what your life could be like. I don't say this to brag, but honestly, I've been jacked my entire 20s, and it has been a massive advantage in my life. In fact, I would say it was a bigger advantage than having money. So in this video, you're gonna learn 7 massive benefits of getting jacked and why you shouldn't count yourself out until you've done it. All right, so number 1, attraction. Let's go ahead and get this one out of the way. Being jacked 1000% attracts women. I don't know where people get off with this idea that somehow being jacked is not attractive to women. It 1000% is. Why do you think that every attractive Hollywood actor is jacked? All the guys in every movie that's supposed to be the guy that all the women have the hots for, he's always jacked. He never has a dad bod. There's a reason for this. They're not just wasting their time with this. I mean, look at these 2 pictures on screen. I took the heads off both of them so that was no excuse for this. Just look at this plain as day. Which one of these guys is going to get the girls? Seriously, which one do you think girls just get tingles for? Just ask yourself. This is just obvious. I don't know why this has become a thing. This is so obvious. Being jacked attracts women, plain and simple. If you struggle with women, the first thing you need to look at is your physique. I was flat broke living with my parents and I still got dates. And the only reason is because I looked like this right here. So guys, seriously, like I had no money. I had a 2003 Toyota Camry with 200,000 miles on it. I had some shitty job where at the time, sometimes I was even unemployed, and I could still get a date because I just had a good physique. Seriously, listen, I don't think I'm like an ugly guy, but it's not like my face is like some 10 out of 10 runway model looks thing going on here. So it's not like it was just pure face. It was literally, I just had a really good physique. And this carried. Now, if you're some beta male, people pleaser, nice guy type dude, this isn't going to be enough to overcome that, right? Basically, it'll get your foot in the door. If you end up being a loser after she meets you, she's either not going to want a relationship with you and you're just going to be the kind of guy she wants to sleep with every now and then. Or if you don't have the right mindset, then she's just not going to be attracted to you. But the point is, like, having the physique, it gets your foot in the door immediately and it can overcome so many other perceived defects in your life. If you're not rich, but you're jacked, you're fine, okay? It's really, truthfully, like the ultimate combo. If you just want to be the kind of guy who gets a bunch of women and just sleeps with them, you're not looking for, a wife or a girlfriend right now. You just want to date casually, have a bunch of options and all that. If I could give you 2 things, I would tell you it's be jacked and have the right mindset. If you have those 2 things, you will fucking crush. Seriously, like I'm telling you, this notion that being a jacked does not attract women is complete nonsense. So, I mean, like, look at these 2 right here. Let's say this guy right here, he's worth $1 million, but he looks like that. Versus, let's say this guy right here is flat broke. I would argue the guy who is flat broke will do far better with women than the guy with $1 million. And some guys will be like, "Yo, that's bullshit," and all this. I'm telling you guys, like, seriously, I'm not saying the guy making $1 million a year isn't going to get women. He'll get women, but you know what he's going to have to do? He's going to have to pay for shit for it. There's not going to be genuine desire. The women aren't genuinely desiring the rich guy. He's just useful to them. Like, wealth is a beta trait in men. You got to understand that having money is a beta trait. It's a provider trait. It's not something that just gets girls turned on. You got to understand that. Like, if you use money in a way that produces an attractive lifestyle, it can start to push you into more of the alpha camp. But if you just have money, it doesn't mean shit, guys. So I'm sure the guy who makes $1 million a year can get a girl. But does he really get the attraction he wants from them, or is it more like they fuck him just so that he sticks around? You know what I mean? I'd rather be the guy that they actually genuinely want. And of course, I want to get rich at the same time. Like, we might as well do all of it. But the point being, if you have to pick between these 2 options right here, I would tell you, you're going to do much better with women being the broke, jacked dude with an attractive physique, because you're just going to do it for her. And this is how you'll hear stories about, like, rich guys getting, like, their wife cheats on them with, like, the pool guy or the bartender and all this kind of stuff. It's because having money just doesn't do it for them. You got to get this, okay? You might say, well, he's got an attractive face. Speaking of this guy, this is Austin Dunham. Some of you guys have probably seen him on YouTube, and like he's kind of like a looks maxing YouTuber. So you might be like, well, he's got an attractive face. And like that's what the black pill kind of crowd will do. They're always making fucking excuses. They think it's like they think everything comes down to like plucking your fucking eyebrows and shit is what makes you attractive as a man. Well, here's the thing. I would tell you the best looks maxing thing you can do is get jacked. The thing that's going to have the biggest impact on changing the attractiveness of your face as well as your body is getting jacked. This is the number one thing you can do, and that leads us into the second massive benefit of getting jacked, which is facial attraction. Putting on muscle will affect the way your face looks, straight up. So like here's two pictures right here. This is the model Jeremy Meeks. The only difference between these two pictures is neck size. And you can just see the difference in the guy. Like the guy on the left, he just looks like an incel almost, versus the guy on the right, purely off the neck, just looks like a far more masculine alpha dude. And it's just muscle mass, and your neck will naturally get bigger when you train your body. Like you do trap exercises, shoulder exercises, you're going to get a thicker neck. And then also if you train neck specifically, you're obviously going to get a thicker neck. So you can just see right off the bat there, being jacked is going to improve your facial attractiveness. Reduced body fat gives you a leaner, more angular, attractive face. These pictures right here, this is Derek, more plates, more dates. I believe on the left, he was 25% body fat. On the right here, I think he was 9% body fat. Just look at the difference in face. I mean, even the eyes have changed. The shape of his eyes, even the shape of his nose has changed. Jawline's obviously far more refined. This is like completely different people. You wouldn't even like, if you didn't know this was the same person, you could practically like not tell. You could hardly tell. You know what I'm saying? The same body fat percentage that gives you visible abs will give your face the best looks. So if you're getting jacked and you get down to like 10 to 12% body fat, you're going to have this angular, far more attractive looking face. So like seriously, like getting jacked is going to make your face look better. It makes you get a thicker neck. It's going to make your face look better. It's going to make you leaner, which is going to make your face look better. You just look like a far more masculine dude. Your face is going to look way better. Weight training also increases bone density, which translates to face shape. So when you're weight training, your bone density also goes up. And it's not a direct one-to-one correlation with your face changing shape, right? Because if you're not like using your face for the weight training, it's not necessarily going to like massively transform the shape of your face, but it does have an impact. Because if your bone density is going up everywhere, it's also going to go up in your face. You got to understand that. I mean, here's a picture right here of this guy. This was just something I pulled off the internet, 10-month fitness transformation. Obviously, his body fat percentage has gone down, but his face shape has objectively changed. Is it going to be radical? No. I mean, if you're like a 1 out of 10 facially attractive guy, you're not going to turn into a runway model. It's not like that, but it does have an impact, right? Like if let's say you're facially attractive, let's say you're like a 6 out of 10, you could by weight training get your face up. I mean, when we factor in body fat changes, when we factor in, training the neck, getting a thicker neck and all of that stuff, and then the bone density changes, I would argue you could bring your face from like a 6 to like an 8.5, probably right off of that. That's really, I'm telling you guys, like this is a massive advantage for every element. You're just going to look like a far more masculine dude in the face and in the body if you train, okay? Face shape is also affected by testosterone, which is increased through weight training and muscle mass. The reason that certain things are considered attractive in a man's face have to do with high testosterone. So like having like the protruded brow line right here or having a strong jawline, these things are associated with high testosterone, and that's why they are considered attractive. And when you weight train, your testosterone goes up, okay? And that leads us into the third big benefit of getting jacked, which is your testosterone going up. Testosterone levels increase the more you build muscle and train. It's this virtuous cycle where like when you start weight training, you start building your testosterone, and then the more testosterone you have, the easier it is to keep building muscle, and it gives you a much more masculine looking appearance. I mean, just look at people who are jacked. And I'm not saying on steroids, but just naturally jacked guys, you will see that their faces just look far more masculine than some dude who's got a beer gut and he eats fucking McDonald's all day and he doesn't exercise. In fact, you could actually look at people who take steroids and see the way their face changes from taking those hormones, and this will just be proof again of how hormone levels affect your facial attractiveness. So it just makes sense that if you can increase your testosterone by building muscle and getting a lean, attractive physique, it's going to make your face look better, okay? Here's my testosterone, by the way, if you think I'm full of shit. My testosterone last time I got it checked was 1,070 nanograms per deciliter. So I have a high testosterone. I have never taken anything androgynous. This is purely off natural stuff. I do take some testosterone supplements like Tonga Ali, but really it just comes down to like weight training. I eat well and I sleep good. And you can have a high testosterone level. But the benefits of higher testosterone are things like this, easier time building muscle and burning fat. So like I said, it's a virtuous cycle. The more you're in the gym building muscle, the easier it gets to continue building some more muscle. And also it makes it easier to burn fat. Higher testosterone makes your whole life easier, guys, but this is one big example. Another one, increased sex drive. The higher your testosterone, the more sex drive you're going to have. Higher confidence. Testosterone is associated with confidence. You're going to be a lot less anxious, a lot more grounded, feeling a lot more masculine, really. Increased bone density, which we already mentioned. Testosterone's linked to bone density, which is, again, why if your testosterone goes up, it's going to change your face shape because your bone density is going to go up. Higher stress tolerance. Testosterone and cortisol being the stress hormone, are inversely correlated. The higher your testosterone, the lower your cortisol tends to be. It's not a one-to-one correlation, but this is also why, like, when you're stressed out and you're not sleeping good, your cortisol goes up and your testosterone goes down. So when you're training yourself well, your testosterone's higher, your cortisol's lower. So you're going to be having lower stress. Your stress tolerance is going to be higher, mind you. It's not that, like, life is still going to be stressful, but your ability to deal with it is going to be much better. Increased energy. Testosterone leads to energy. This is why guys in their 40s and 50s get on TRT. They feel like they're young again. More drive and ambition. When you have testosterone is the alpha male hormone. It leads to you wanting to get the fuck after it when you have high testosterone. You want to build that business. You want to go out and make shit happen in life. You're looking for trouble, not in like a bad way, but like in a way of like, let's take risk, let's take chances, let's take action. Let's life max, really being the moral of this channel, or the big message of this channel. You're way more likely to life max with high testosterone. Number 4, self-image. This is one that you probably haven't heard before, but this might be one of the biggest benefits you're going to get from this. Your perception of yourself is made through association. So you have this idea of who you are, and that thing about who you are, it's related to different associations you've made. You had a certain experience happen in your life which told you something about who you are, and that's how you identify yourself. You make these kinds of associations. How you look is one of the biggest associations you make about who you are. What you see in the mirror is going to tell you a lot about who you are on a subconscious level. You're just going to tell yourself a story because different bodies have different associations. You see, like, you can't talk your way out of this, really. Like, if you look in the mirror and you're obese, you're just going to feel bad about yourself. Even if you're numb to it, your self-image is still going to be, I'm undisciplined, I'm lazy, I look like shit, I'm a low-quality guy. That's just how you're going to feel about yourself. There's not really anything you can do about that. All you can do is change the image, right? So basically, I mean, look at this. This guy right here. Let's say that, like, these are the kinds of associations you would make with this physique. You'd be like, well, he's attractive, he's masculine, strong, he probably gets girls, he's disciplined and athletic. Those are the kinds of associations that come with this physique. Now, imagine if you were making those associations every time you saw yourself. Every time you see yourself in the mirror, you make those same associations about yourself when you're jacked. When I look in the mirror at myself, I feel good about myself. Again, I don't want to sound cocky, but I'm just trying to hopefully motivate you guys to get your shit together and get in the fucking gym and get jacked, because it will change your life, guys. I look in the mirror and I just feel good about who I am. I'm like, I'm that guy. Seriously, on some level, I'm like, listen, like, my body is an example of, clearly, I was disciplined, I was consistent, I look good, I'm attractive, I'm strong, I look masculine, I look like a warrior. Like, these are all associations I have about myself because of who I see in the mirror. I'm like, oh, I'm a confident guy. I'm the kind of guy who gets girls because look how I look. It's just like it feeds into who you are. And then what happens, because you make these associations, is it starts to affect different parts of your life. Because if you see yourself as the kind of guy who gets women, you're naturally going to expect more success with them. If you see yourself as the kind of guy who is consistent and disciplined, you're naturally going to be more consistent and disciplined in every area of your life. If you see yourself as a strong, masculine guy, this is going to translate into how you behave in different areas. You're just going to default to the masculine thing. You're going to default to strength. You see how that works because you see yourself as strong, because every time you look in the mirror, you see a strong man. This is so important. Imagine how your self-image would change if you liked what you saw every time you looked in the mirror. When you looked at yourself, it told a story of strength, discipline, confidence, and attraction. Instead of whatever it's telling you right now, which, if you just have some average looking body, you look like the beer gut man that we always post on this channel, you probably look in the mirror, and even if you're numb to it at this point, you still have this idea of yourself of like, fuck, I look like shit. Is that really what you want to keep telling yourself about who you are? I look like shit. I'm lazy. I can't get my shit together. Do you want to keep telling yourself this? Like, how is that going to translate into the rest of your life? Are you going to expect the girl to like you if you feel that way about yourself? Are you going to expect your business to do well if that's how you feel about yourself? Are you even going to take a chance on a business? You're not going to look in the mirror and see a winner. So are you really going to take a chance on quitting your job and building that business? This is so important. How you see yourself is the foundation of what your life is going to be like, and what you see in the mirror is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, elements in how you perceive yourself. Even beyond that, it's how people speak about you. So it's not just you, but it's how other people speak about you. People feed back to you a positive self-image through the way they speak about you. It's things like, you just go, you're talking to people and they just naturally, like, they'll say something like, well, like, Keefe can do it, right? This is stuff they'll tell to me. Like, I bet Keefe can pick that up. Or Keefe's like jacked or something. Like, they'll say this thing like Keefe's in great shape, or they'll be like, I bet Keefe gets a lot of girls, or like they'll say these kinds of things. People will just say this stuff. They'll just point out that you're jacked. They're just pointing out the obvious. It's just this thing that keeps getting fed back to you. Everybody is positively reinforcing to you your appearance. They're telling you you're in good shape. They're telling you you're attractive. They're telling you you're strong. They're telling you you look like a beast. And everybody's feeding this back to you. And you're like, yeah, I am that guy. Fuck yeah, I am that guy. And it just translates into everything. It translates into how people are responding to you. It translates how you're going to show up in different environments. And this leads us into the fifth big benefit, which is celebrity status. You get celebrity status for being jacked. I'm so serious. In a sea full of guys who are skinny, fat, or obese, you stand out in the most positive way possible. It's just like, seriously, guys, most rooms I walk into, I am by far in the best shape there. It's just not even close. Even in the gym, most of the time, I'm like at least one of the guys in the best shape there. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's this thing. And you notice it. You just walk around, you're like, people are looking at you in the most positive way. It's like either like the guys are naturally going to view you as this alpha dude, or the women are just giving you this look. I'm telling you again, like, I know this sounds cocky. I'm really not trying to be cocky. I'm just trying to give you the reality of this. God's fucking truth, guys. Like, I went to the gym today. At least 4 or 5 different women were just looking at me. It's just in the gym. You would think most guys in there are in great shape. But if you go to most gyms, most people are like they're in okay shape. But like, I go to a pretty like serious gym. It's a pretty expensive gym to go to. So like most of the people there are in decent shape. But even in there, like, I am just pretty jacked. And you stand out, guys. It's the most positive thing. It's just such an easy benefit you can give yourself just by doing this. It's an instant credibility and status boost to be jacked. People are just like, oh, this guy's legit. Imagine if everybody saw you and they were just like, this dude's legit. Because everybody knows that it's hard to be in great shape. You look like you can do damage. You're clearly disciplined. You look like you take yourself seriously and you have respect in yourself. It's just a massive benefit, guys. It's a massive benefit. Women default to putting you in the alpha attractive camp rather than the friend zone. Like I said earlier, if your mindset is fucked and you still act like some beta male loser guy, this isn't going to fix that. Right? You got to have the right mindset. But imagine if every girl you met, instead of her immediately lumping you into the beta male friend zone category, she automatically lumped you into that guy's hot category. And it's like, yeah, you might fuck it up from there, but you got your foot in the door right off the bat. And so if you have the mindset to boot with that, I'm telling you guys, like, you just start swimming in chicks. I'm really not trying to sound arrogant here, but it's just a fact. I hope you guys get to experience this for yourself and you can come back and tell me how it worked for you, because I promise you, this is how it goes. People aren't going to push you around. You get a certain level of respect automatically. The funny thing is, like, I started doing martial arts last year, and, I'm athletic, which allowed me to kind of pick it up a little bit quicker than some people. But like, realistically, like, I'm not a good fighter. Like, at this point, I could beat most people up because I've been doing it, and most people don't train at all. But like, when I started, like, people could kick my ass if they'd been fighting. even if they were skinnier than me. But the simple fact that I have this frame, it just gives this perception to people. There's like, this guy looks like he can do fucking damage. And it's just like, that is such a powerful thing to have. Like, imagine, like, it's just this, like, nobody's gonna like give you shit. You know what I mean? Like, they'll just look at you and like, I've had this happen a few times where like somebody, you know, they turn around, maybe you like bump into them or something by accident, and they turn around like they're gonna give you a problem, and then they see you and they don't give you a problem because like, oh, I'll go bother somebody else, right? Like, you're just not the guy to be fucked with because you look like you can do fucking damage. And seriously, and then if you combine doing the martial arts, which I highly recommend, now you actually can do fucking damage. And so now you've got this inner confidence. You look like a beast and you could actually fuck somebody up. That's a crazy combo. So I highly recommend you get into martial arts as well. But we can start with getting jacked here. It will change it. Even if you're shorter. You know, I am 6 feet tall, so I have that advantage as well when it comes to just presence. But even if you're like 5'8", or something like that, but you're in good shape, like you're muscular, you are jacked, you look like you can do some damage, you will still get this. Like Conor McGregor is probably like 5'8", 5'9". You look at him and you're like, yeah, not to be fucked with. You know what I mean? Even if you just stripped away the fact that he was in the UFC, if you just looked at his frame and saw him walk in the room, you'd be like, yeah, that guy is not to be fucked with. You know what I mean? Like, you just go find, if you wanted trouble, they'll just go find somebody else. They're not going to pick on that guy, right? It's a respect thing. You just get this sort of respect because it's, again, associations. When people see this physique, they think warrior, they think violent, they think powerful, they think strong. It's intimidating. Honestly, it's intimidating to a lot of people in a very positive way, I would tell you. Going back to the associations, people associate your physique with positive traits, which leads to you immediately being viewed as alpha, high status, and as a leader. You just default into this camp. Again, if your mindset's fucked, you can fuck all this up, but you get the leg up right off the bat. It's the equivalent of like pretty privilege for women. You know what I mean? Like, it's just this thing that just gives you an advantage in life. Number 6, confidence. I feel like I've kind of already beat this one up, so I'm not going to belabor the point here. Your confidence skyrockets when you're jacked. It just does. Because you just look in the mirror, you feel great about yourself. Everybody's treating you better than they would otherwise. Your confidence is just going to be sky high. And then also the fact that you've done this thing gives you confidence in other areas of your life. Because it's like, you know, most guys don't have anything they can hang their hat on. If you've done this, if you've gotten in shape, that means you were consistent and disciplined and pushed through discomfort for a minimum of 12 to 18 months, probably longer. That just says something about you, and it gives you confidence to step into other areas. You see what I'm saying? It's a massive benefit. Number 7, it's a life asset. It's the biggest asset you can give yourself. Building the body is the biggest asset you will have in your life, period. I don't give a fuck about some house or anything like that. Having the physique is the biggest asset. It's a massive health benefit. Obviously, you're going to live longer. You're going to be energetic longer. You know, I've heard it said from multiple doctors that having muscle mass on your body is the best anti-aging protocol you can follow. Muscle is the biggest thing because it keeps your testosterone correctly and at a higher level. It means it's going to keep your hormones in balance. It's going to keep your posture correct. It's going to give your bone density higher. All this stuff. The best anti-aging protocol you can follow is to be jacked. So it's a massive asset for that. It will improve your attraction, your status, your confidence, your strength, and your mindset. There have been studies done, something called the halo effect in psychology, which shows that when people perceive somebody as attractive, they're more likely to give them a job, to give them a raise, to give them a chance, to view them as a smart person, to view them as somebody who's, you know, successful, a leader, all these positive associations that you want to have with yourself. Being attractive gives you those things, and being in great shape is going to help you with that attraction. So people see you and they immediately think, this guy must be smart. This guy must know what he's doing. This guy must be confident. This guy must be a leader. I should hire that guy. You see how that works? People trust you more. You know, if I was going to hire somebody, like let's say a company came to me and they wanted to contract something with my business, and the guy was in fantastic shape, I'd be like, this guy clearly has his shit together. So I'd be like, I feel like I can trust that. Whereas if he's like a slob, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I mean, you can't even control what goes into your mouth. Do I really trust you with some big contract for my business? I don't think so. But if you come in like dialed the fuck in physically, I'm like, oh, this guy's a fucking professional. Like, it's just obvious. Like, of course you're going to trust that guy more. He's going to have more credibility, right? It's a massive asset for your life. It translates into every area of your life. Literally, like, It, like I said, it leads to career success. It also, all the traits that you develop from this. You get traits like consistency and discipline. You learn how to do these things. You learn how to achieve things. And then you translate those skills into other areas. You learn how to be consistent. You learn how to be disciplined. You learn how to push through discomfort. You learn how to set a goal and delay gratification because you're not going to see results on your physique on the first day. And so you learn how to do that in other areas of life as well. It translates into everything. It is a massive asset. Not only that, but being in great shape makes life easier. You can pick up heavy things. And I know this might be silly, guys, but this goes back to self-image. Is like, it's kind of like this odd point of pride, I guess, for me, is like, there's all these times where people just kind of look at me to pick up something heavy if it needs to get picked up. And I know that seems kind of silly, but it's just like, imagine like if a bunch of guys try to pick something up and they can't pick it up and you can pick it up. It's just like this thing, and it's just nice, honestly. And it's nice like in this way when like women can kind of look at you and they need you to like do this masculine thing that they can't do. They need you to pick up this heavy thing for them. It's kind of nice, honestly. It's just this simple little thing, or even if you just need to do it for yourself. I remember like when I was moving into my apartment that I'm currently in right now, it was like we were like loading stuff up into the moving truck, and my parents were helping me out. My dad was helping me out, that is. And like he would be like, "Oh, like here, I'll help you with that thing." And I'd be like, "Oh, I got it." And I'd just like pick up this giant piece of furniture on my own and just go drop it in the truck. And then it's like he would need help with things. And my dad's old now, so like I'm not like beating him up for that. But the point is just like, it's like this weird kind of point of pride when it's like people are like, "Hey, do you need help with that?" And you're like, "Nope, I've got it." And you're just kind of like one arm like sling it up and like put it wherever it needs to be. And like you can just carry shit. It's just kind of nice, honestly, guys. Like it just makes your life easier. You can beat all your out of shape friends at sports. This is another one. Like as you age, everybody's getting out of shape and you're in shape. It's like, when you were 18, like most guys were kind of like pretty much the same physically. You go play basketball with those same friends at 28 and they're huffing and puffing going down the court one time and you're just like bodying everybody. This is another one where this is silly, honestly, but like, I used to play basketball when I was in high school, and like, I mean, I was in good shape then. I was a bit more muscular than average even then, but like, I wasn't like a grinder, like a bruiser kind of player. I was more like a small forward kind of guy. But now at this point, I'm not actually good at basketball. I don't play basketball anymore. But like if I ever play basketball, it's kind of fun. I know this is like douchey as fuck, but like this is like the douche channel, right? But like it's kind of fun to be this guy who like sets a pick on the basketball court and somebody runs into it and just falls over because they just run into you and it's like a fucking brick wall and they just knock over. Or like you're going for a rebound and you just bang everybody out of the way to get the ball. Or like you're just like in the paint and like you're doing like a drop step in the post and you just move the guy out of the way like he's not there. It's like shit like that. It's just kind of fun. It's like this little like ego boost, and I know it's kind of silly, but it is kind of fun, and it gives you this confidence. You're just like, I'm this fucking guy. Like you're just bulldozing everybody over. And when you deal with normies, you see this. Like if you're jacked and you go deal with like normal people, you'll just like bulldoze all of them over, and it's kind of funny, honestly. But like, I mean, you go do this with any sport, you'll just blow everybody out. It's these little things where it's honestly like so fun to be the only guy who can fucking like play sports still. Like I can just roll up and go run a 10K right now if I want to. I can roll up on a basketball court and I can't play ball, but somebody would still want me on the team because I could just bang inside and just beat people up basically with my frame. It's honestly, it's this fun thing. Everybody just like looks at you like, oh, this guy's a fucking athlete. You know what I mean? And you are an athlete, really. It's such an advantage. And as you age, it becomes rarer and rarer. How many in shape 40-year-olds do you see? I would hazard a guess that the number of 40-year-old men who are in like actual good shape, not just like okay shape. I'm talking about like they're actually in good shape. You'd be like, okay, that guy's in great shape or something like that. He's jacked. It's got to be less than like 0.1%. It may be 0.1%, 1 in 1,000 men over the age of 40 are jacked, probably something like that. That's probably like being generous, guys. But like, imagine you're that guy. Again, talk about celebrity status. You know what I mean? Like you go to you go to like a cookout or something like that, and every guy's wife is looking at you because they're just like not into their husband anymore, but you're just like jacked. You look like the fucking like silverback gorilla at this point, like the fucking refined gentleman in his 40s who just looks masculine as fuck, and everybody else just looks out of shape and like they gave up on life. This is a massive advantage you can give yourself, guys. So the moral of the story, guys, is get jacked. You have no idea how much better your life will be once you are. And if you want to take this more seriously, you need to join us inside the Life Maxed group. Inside, I put together a workout program and nutrition plan, and as you can see on screen, the guys are getting fantastic results from it. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll talk to you later.